Hey guys, how are you? What's going on? Hey friends, what's going on? How's everybody doing today? Let's see. Happy last Tuesday of the year. Can you believe it? I can't. I've really been enjoying this week. We were gone all last week. We came home on Saturday. It was on your mark, get set, go because we had to go and pick up the dogs and get everybody had to get back reset. I haven't even unpacked my bags yet. I have 2 bags still sitting in the kitchen. Just and in the garage. Let me check that. I have not really only thing I've unpacked was my electronics, of course, right? Um, is it Sakina Haas? Sakina's. It's so weird when they don't have everybody's screen names. So my bad if I'm saying it wrong. Aquarius and Rich old. Okay. We'll just say Rich. Gangstars. Okay. How's everybody doing? What's going on? Y'all, I just got finished making dinner and I said, let me go ahead and go live. I'm not even gonna lie. I was just straight up and down lazy today. I not yes and no, but I mean, I was kind of, looking at stories and like thinking what we're gonna talk about. And then I'm right now, of course, last minute, looking just to see if there was anything posted to the docket just to make sure I hadn't missed anything new because I'm like, I'm gonna have to start checking the docket again because I kind of gave up on Nesto's docket just because when nothing happening. I was just like, well, maybe, we didn't know what was gonna happen. And I just was like, in December, I barely really looked at it. But I would look at it every now and again. But anyway, um, but if you weren't here the other day, which I'm assuming if you weren't, you would have watched the video by now that I put up on Sunday. Um, we did kind of a little bit of a case update because there was some new information on the docket. There was a request that was made by Nesto's attorneys to vacate the order for the denial of the motion to suppress and to reissue it along with a fresh certificate of immediate review. And of course, in true Judge Dunaway fashion, nothing has been done yet. Okay. Nothing has been done. And as far as we know, okay, as far as we know, there's nothing on there yet. So, um, okay. I would imagine if the judge is going to vacate the initial order and reissue it, it's going to show up on the docket. I don't know that, you know, I don't know that they're going to be posting things secretly. Uh, it doesn't seem like when they were practicing doing those kind of um I don't even know what you call it, confidential posting or trying to not post so that the docket was not public and suppress the public's right to know what's going on with the case. That Will Wooten, that the DA's office was really here for that. So, um, because we sat and heard Fonnie Willis 2 weeks ago talk about transparency in the DA's office. So that they are all about transparency, even though some people who want to keep, have things be secret or whatever. Um, so we don't know. Anywho, that was posted, and I don't see any updates on that yet. But I did have a couple things I want to talk to you guys about. Um, so how's everybody doing? I almost feel like I should drop the call in, but I don't know if you guys have stuff you want to talk about. I don't know if you guys want to talk about Nesto, but there were some weird things. Okay, so first of all, I do have a couple follow-ups. Tomorrow I'm going to be checking in tomorrow in Charlotte on the Frisia Baker case. There is I don't know if it's just a calendar conference or what tomorrow, but there's a hearing tomorrow. It might be short. I don't know. Is it probable cause? Oh, you know what? I think it might be a probable cause hearing. That might be interesting. Okay, so I was planning to be at that. So we'll see. So just, be on the standby for that tomorrow. I will be coming to you guys with an update on that. So if you're following the person who was arrested for the murder of Frisia Baker, we talked about that over here about 2 weeks ago. There was the bond hearing, and of course, he's been denied bond. He was given a murder charge. He is in the Mecklenburg County Jail, and I do believe tomorrow might be the probable cause hearing. So that should be pretty interesting. I forgot what it was. I just knew it was on my calendar for tomorrow. So anyway, that's going to be happening, and I will have some information for you guys on that. What's that? Call it hiding the truth of the tea. Truth of the tea, hiding the okay. Um, I don't think that they're doing that. I think that's ridiculous. The judge cannot place orders in secret. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't there's just some people who have a limited capacity to understand certain things, um, i.e. less than smart. And I just feel like some of these elementary school explanations that are being passed around are ridiculous. That's all I gotta say. Um, a murder bond, which is no bond at all, right? So I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is what I read, and what I read is that they want to, and it's got to be. I mean, clearly there was no appeal filed, or else it would be on the appeal docket, right? There would be an appeal docketed in the Georgia Court of Appeals regarding that particular motion, right? Of which there is none. And had it been filed, then they wouldn't be asking them to vacate the order and reissue the certificate, right? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. So by hook or by crook, if the there has to be some reason why they're wanting them to do that so they can actually file appeal. I'm following it to a certain degree, but I haven't been we hadn't talked about it on here, put it that way. I guess we can once something really happens, but right now it's a lot of I don't want to say it's a lot of speculation, but it's delving into those people's divorce, trying to, I don't know. I guess I'm just not super into it. I mean, I've got my ears open to it. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not into it. I know what's going on, you know what I mean? But I haven't been like, "Ooh, Anna Kemper update." You know what I mean? Anna Kempner update. It just sounds quite disturbing, and I really feel bad for that little girl, and it's sad that, Anna Kempner, for those of you who don't know, she's a teenager who was graduating this year, and she went on a cruise with her family. She was alone. Well, I guess there was another kid who was like her half sib with her dad and the lady that he married. um, but she was her mother's only child, and she hadn't seen her mother in a long time. She was living in a house full of kids that belonged to another woman and were fathered by another person. They went on a cruise. According to what I've heard, that there was some sort of weird relationship between her and her stepbrother. The stepbrother might have been infatuated with her, obsessed with her, sexually attracted to her. For some stupid reason, they had all the kids piled up in a room. I guess they didn't think of her privacy as a young woman, and that you have a psychotic, which I don't know that to be true, but if he did strangle his stepsister, psychotic, um, teenage boy who might have been horny for his stepsister and off his medication, because I think there were two doses missed. I guess I know a lot more than I thought I did. I know what's going on, but I just haven't really. I hadn't been like studying the case because we hadn't really been talking about the case here. But it is unnerving. It is unnerving how unprotected girls are, and boys are too, for to a certain degree, but boys, um it's just different. And I feel like this girl was very unprotected. She didn't have her own mother. Her mother was absent. She's living under the roof of another woman's house who may not care as much about her because that's not her kid. Let's be real. Not every stepmother gives a shit about their stepkids, right? And we don't really know what the relationship was, but they had that girl sleeping in the room with a bunch of boys, and she comes up, and then she doesn't show up for stuff, and nobody's even thinking about her, and the maid service finds her dead under a bunch of pillows. I don't know, maybe I haven't talked about it cuz it makes me mad. I do feel like it's sad. I feel sad for that girl. She seemed to be like a bright star. She had a lot going for her. She was doing well in school. She was getting ready to graduate against all the odds of not having her own mother, not being in contact with her mother, being raised up under another woman's roof, and her father probably not really paying attention, thinking everything was okay. And, whatever. I heard that the brother tried to get in the room and heard the stepbrother said, "Shut the hell up." There was even a time where maybe he tried to get on top of her. You know, I don't know that he sexually assaulted her, but he was very inappropriate with her. And it's unfortunate nobody was there to protect her. So sad. Um, yeah. I guess I've been following it a little bit, but we just hadn't talked about it over here. It's kind of hard. Like, we do talk a lot about crimes. We do talk a lot of crime here. Um, I it's like the teen girl cases. It's just it's hard. It's like I hate to hear some of these. Oh, and let me just mention this. I'd be remiss. We'll talk about it more and I will share the post. If any of you have not checked in on Facebook, some of you guys don't do Facebook, and I know, and don't stretch yourself if you can't. It's fine. I'll share the post over here, but it will take you to Facebook. But Naziah Harris's auntie and cousin, Jernell and Kiwana, have something going on. The Complete Justice for Naziah Harris. Complete Justice for Naziah Harris. There is a Facebook page. And they're doing a commemoration next week because next week is the second anniversary of Naziah Harris going missing. And they're doing something similar to what they did on her birthday, just kind of like an online, maybe post something, share something. Even if you share the post is helpful to help, again, bring, increase awareness. Also reminders, gentle reminders for people who may have been following the story, but just kind of forgot because it has been carrying on. It's been 2 years since she's gone missing. Jarvis Butts was arrested like a year or plus ago. The preliminary hearings have happened, and yes, there has been stuff for people following, but remember, everyone's not like us. Everyone isn't true crimers following the latest updates and the last court hearing. You know what I'm saying? So just a gentle reminder to make sure that people, keep Naziah and those who care in your thoughts and prayers because she went missing. She still hasn't been found. The man is facing murder charges and many other host of charges for all of the other heinous acts that he'd done. And they're doing kind of like a online commemoration in her honor on that day. So just to bring some awareness to that, I will share the link to the Facebook page and also the like the little post where it kind of tells you what they're looking for people to do, whether you share something, share some hearts, write her name, something in a post, just, um, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that, but I'll mention it again. I'll share the links and stuff like that so you guys can, participate and show your support. Um, it's she's, Anna wasn't a grown girl by any means. She was a senior in high school, but she was a young lady. I think that unfortunately, um I mean, look, it's like it's you know how it is. It's like Cinderella. You know what I mean? Not to say she was Cinderella, but Cinderella lived in a house with a woman who really didn't care anything about her. She wanted the man, not the kid. You know what I mean? That lady already had her own family. She might have just I don't know anything about the mother, but that woman got a divorce and married a whole nother man soon after. So who knows? Maybe she just wanted the man. She might not have wanted the kid that came with it. And her kid might be mentally deranged. You know what I'm saying? So if they can drag Anna a little bit or make it seem odd enough to where maybe, I mean, I don't know. There's that boys will be boys type situation, and she's not here to defend herself. Probably nobody really knew what she was going through, but allegedly the son was inappropriate. So, and then he's also on medication. He's got issues. So it's not surprising and if he did, I mean, the FBI and the powers that be, I'm sure, are examining her remains. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, most people who commit murder are not thinking it all the way out at how meticulous these scientists are that can really tell what happened. So, it might have been a fit of anger. He may not have really thought it all the way out. We don't really know what happened, but whatever happened, um, I'm sure that the FBI is going to be able to figure it out. So if the maids were able to find the body and they called the FBI and all of those things, and depending on the card access for the rooms, fobs and all of those things, girl, it's I think it might just be the fact that it happened on international waters, all of those kind of red tape items that probably is preventing the boy from being arrested, but it'll come. You know how they say the FBI doesn't really give updates, they their results. So they're not gonna come and give a bunch of updates on stuff. If they are updating anyone, it's gonna be the family, and I don't see that boy's family running to social media to tell us what's going on with they should I would be mortified. Um, so, teenager I don't know who would put a teenager boy and a girl in the same room. Look, it depends on the type of room, but if it was one of these bunk bed, like, cheap room situations where they just have the kids stacked on top of each other, because they got a bunch of people traveling and they've got, like, 2 or 3 rooms. I think they had, like, 2 or 3 rooms, but why they didn't put the girl and there was, I guess, a little girl too. Why you didn't put the girl with the little kids and let the teenage boys be by themselves or something like that, you know? Let the girls have their room or let Anna sleep with the grandparents or something. I don't know. I mean, everybody can't afford to do extra rooms, but there probably could have been a better way. But, this is the deal. Let me just say this too. Parents have to realize if you can't afford to you got a bunch of kids and you really can't afford to travel like that, then you need to go on trips that your money makes sense. Okay. And maybe going on a cruise and you got a bunch of kids, but you don't have enough money to really accommodate proper housing for a young lady and young boys that are all adolescent and in puberty and have bodies and hormones and things like that. And also, these kids are not related and someone's got mental problems, then you need to figure out somewhere else to keep those kids or send them somewhere else, or don't take that vacation. Go somewhere where your money can afford to house people properly so you don't have people losing their mind and making bad decisions that destroys families. You know what I'm saying? So that was stupid. If they knew that there was an issue between Anna and the stepbrother had some sort of he has some sort of mental issues anyway, and he's inappropriate with the girl, they shouldn't have that was a bad room assignment. And the mother was saying, well, that's what our travel agent told us to do. I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Dumb. Now your husband's daughter's dead and your son may have killed her and he's getting ready to go to prison. How stupid was that? Which, you know what, honestly, it could have happened anyway, just to be honest, right? It might have just been something that was gonna happen anyway, but, it may not have happened on that cruise ship, and also it's possible, had things been managed properly, he was being managed properly on his medication, um, maybe he hadn't been out to sea, maybe he hadn't been unattended. I think they said there could have been alcohol involved. And if he's taking certain drugs, prescriptions that are not to be mixed with alcohol, just a perfect storm of what were y'all doing? Y'all were on vacation. Meanwhile, you got one kid indulging in homicide and another one who's not going to make it back to shore. It's terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I would just I guess I am saying it. I hope your vacation was worth it. I hope you had a real good time. I just, I hate to hear about young girls not being protected. I don't want to seem like I'm anti-boy because obviously I'm not, but I just think that sometimes people don't give in effort to treat everyone equal, like to be equal to the sexes. I think people forget that young women need to be treated like young women, and that's the problem. Girls needed to be treated like young ladies and young women, and where in the good sense God gave a goose, would you put two children who are not related, one of which who has been acting out and had been noted, in the same room together like that? And also, you're taking your ass to sleep early and not giving your kid who's got issues his medication, and also making alcohol available. So it's just weird to me. Like those, I honestly almost feel like the parents, at least the mother, at least, maybe even the father, they need to be held responsible too, because that was stupid. That was real stupid. And I feel bad for that girl. I hate that she had to go in that way. That was just awful. So that's a nightmare. Um, the travel agent told her. I don't know if they told her to cut back on a room, but they gave that suggestion for room arrangements. Um, yeah, they could have had the girls, either her, I think there might have been a little girl or a little boy, something. Why couldn't they go sleep with the grandparents or something? Or I don't know. All the girls in one room. Like at the end of the day, until and we only have one kid over here. I'm gonna just say this. Like until my daughter is old enough where she is off to college, or we one day get to go on a vacation like by ourselves, everything is family oriented. You know what I'm saying? Like now she's at an age where we do need to get two-room hotel rooms, right? And we do that. Also, we everything is family oriented. At the end of the day, it's girl, especially when we take the damn dogs with us. Oh my God, that's not a vacation at all. It's a vacation because we're not at home. But damn, you know what I'm saying? Like parents have to realize like only time you're gonna get time to yourself is if you have babysitters taking care of your kids for you to have like a actual adult time on vacation. So to me that was just that was a mess up on their part. That was totally something that could have been avoidable. Anna was almost out that house. We don't really know what the girl was going through, and rest assured that there's someone else going through that same situation right now. You know what I mean? There's someone else who is going through something just like that. There's a sad story kind of that I'll tell you guys about it in a minute, but let me tell you about this one first. There's some weird stuff happening. Let me tell you about a couple of these stories because did I have this pulled up? Hold on. Girl, when you guys hear about this, you're gonna be like, what? Do I have a video pulled up? Let me see. Mm, this was crazy. Wait, hold on. Y'all are gonna be like, what? When I heard this today, I couldn't believe it. It was absolutely crazy. Hopefully, I can find the video. Hold on. This was absolutely crazy. Hold on. Let me share my screen.
The Goffstown couple accused of selling body parts stolen from Harvard Medical School has been sentenced to prison. WMUR's Mercy Tensino here now with the details of those court documents, and also, Marissa, the statements from people affected.
Well, Steve, the couple from Goffstown, Cedric and Denice Lodge, have been sentenced to prison. Cedric Lodge is the former manager of the Harvard Medical School morgue. He pleaded guilty to interstate transport of stolen goods and was sentenced to 8 years in prison. His wife, Denice Lodge, admitted to selling the remains to buyers across the country. She was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day in prison. In the court documents were victim impact statements from families of those who donated their bodies to Harvard. One spouse writing, quote, "What's left for us is disillusionment, shame, memories that will forever be disturbing, and thought that will forever be haunting." A daughter writing, quote, "It will likely be a long time, if ever, I can look at a picture of my father and not have thoughts like, did he still have his head? Did they sell his Herculean right hand? Were the skin of his tattoos made into cushions?" Another spouse talking about how difficult it was grieving her husband, saying, quote, "As I sat in the living room, a wave of horror washed over me as the thought that he had been desecrated, his final act of generosity stolen." Cedric Lodge's defense asked the court when sentencing him to balance the need to punish his crimes with the fact that he had accepted responsibility and was remorseful for what he did. News 9 did go to the Lodge's home today, and we were asked to leave.
I mean, they said they went to the man's house, I guess, to get a comment, and they were asked to leave. Obviously, let me tell you what happened. Okay, so the man, Cedric Lodge, was the manager of the morgue at Harvard University. Okay, and you heard them correctly. So let's just say you donated so and so's body to science. So the body goes to medical school, and they may study the cadaver for whatever they're doing, correct? They're doing whatever studies on the anatomy. And once the dissections are done, the body is then cremated or returned to the family for burial or whatever they're going to do, right? Well, this was out of some Dr. Frankenstein type stuff. Okay. So let me tell you what happened. Um, this is absolutely insane. Okay. The person, so just imagine who would buy such a thing, right? Well, wait till you see the guy who was buying, his best customer. Okay. You guys know the guy Marilyn Manson. To me, he didn't look as much like, well, he kind of did look like Marilyn Manson, but definitely the wife. Oh my God. It was just, it was, I was sitting there like, are you kidding me? What were they even doing with this stuff? Okay. So let me read this to you guys. United States Attorney's Office in the Middle District of Pennsylvania announced that Cedric Lodge, 58, and Denice Lodge, 65, both of Goffstown, New Hampshire, were sentenced on December 16th, 2025, by the Chief United States District Judge Matthew Brand to interstate transport of stolen human remains. Cedric Lodge was sentenced to 96 months in prison, and Denice received 12 months and 1 day. According to the United States Attorney Brian D. Miller, from 2018 to 2020, Cedric participated in the sale of interstate transport of human remains stolen from Harvard Medical School morgue located in Boston, Massachusetts. Cedric was then employed as the manager of the Harvard Medical School morgue, removed human remains, including organs, brains, skin, hands, faces, dissected heads, and other parts from donated cadavers after they had been used for research and teaching purposes, but before they could be disposed of accordingly to the anatomical gift donation agreement between the donor and the school. Cedric Lodge took the remains without the knowledge or permission of his employer, the donors, or donor family, and transported the remains to his home in New Hampshire. After he and his wife, Denice Lodge, sold the remains online, of course, they would ship the remains to the buyers in other states, and the buyers would take possession directly transport the remains to them, or the buyers would take possession directly and transport the remains themselves. Remains stolen and sold by the lodges were transported from the morgue in Boston to locations in Salem, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania. Lodge sold remains to Joshua Taylor, Andrew Insanian, among others. Many of the remains purchased from Lodge were resold for profit, including to Jeremy Pauley. He just got sentenced last week, Jeremy Pauley. He's the one that looks like Marilyn Manson, who previously entered a guilty plea to conspiracy and interstate transport of stolen human remains and scheduled for sentencing December 22nd, which, obviously that happened. The trafficking of stolen human remains through the U.S. mail is a disturbing act and victimizes already grieving families while also creating potentially hazardous situations for postal employees and customers, said Christopher Nielsen, the inspector in charge of the Philadelphia division of the Postal Inspection Service. I hope our efforts in these sentencings bring some amount of closure to those affected by this terrible crime. Today, sentencing is another step forward in assuring those who orchestrated and executed this heinous crime are brought to justice, said Wayne Jacobs, special agent of the FBI Philadelphia field office, who want to thank the partners of the Postal Service and the United States Attorney's Office for their diligent efforts in this case. Several other defendants have previously entered guilty pleas in related cases, including but you got to see this guy. I don't know what he was doing, but it was on some like Hannibal Lecter type stuff, because you heard one of the family members say she didn't know if they had turned Bible lady, that avatar. I cannot I cannot. Oh my God. Let me see if I can find the video I saw with the guy Paulie, because when you see they look ghoulish. They look like every day is Halloween for them. You know what I mean? Like they look like they look like the Addams family. Okay? That's what it was giving. Let me see. He just got sentenced. I think he got a little bit more time, but there's someone else I think that got like 20 years. I'm like, what did she do? Hold on a second. Let me pull him up. Pull up that video. Jeremy Pauley. Hold on. You may not even want to hear. If you just Google the name, you'll be like, what? God, say it ain't so. Oh, he was trying to cover he's got, okay, you know how Wade Wilson has the tattoos on his face? This guy, like half of his face is clean, and then the other, like literally the other half of his face is all tattooed. This isn't the video that I saw, but this one might have to do. Okay, hold on.
The families of those remains involved.
Jeremy Pauley pleading guilty to charges related to transporting stolen property. He was involved in a multi-state scheme involving several people, also involved in buying and selling stolen human remains. CBS 20.
What were you doing with a head? That's what it's like something out of Dr. Frankenstein. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just absolutely nuts.
One's Jessica Babb, you saw right there, trying to ask him some questions. She's been following this case from the very start and now joins us from the federal courthouse in Williamsport. Need to remind you here, some of the information you're going to hear about could be disturbing.
Could be.
With his guilty plea, Jeremy Pauley could be facing a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison and a fine of $500,000. That will be decided by a judge in the coming months. But in the meantime, Pauley's attorney says he's taken accountability for his actions. Jeremy Pauley.
Look at him. Look at him. Half of his face is tattooed, the other half not. This doesn't look like the video. You know what? This This is when he went to court, but there's you have to see he got sentenced like 2 days ago. What was it? The 22nd. So he got sentenced a week ago Monday.
With CBS 21, do you have anything to say about the charges that you're facing right now?
Excuse me, do you have anything to say? Hello, excuse me. Can you talk to me for a second?
Is there anything that you'd like to say about the
Did you
charges?
see how she came out from behind the planter?
Jeremy
Look.
Pauly, I'm with CBS 21. Do you have anything to say about the charges that you're facing right now?
He's not talking, ma'am.
Is there anything that you'd like to say to the families of those remains involved? A multi-state scheme spanning from Arkansas to Massachusetts, ending with a guilty plea. Jeremy Pauly admitting to transporting stolen remains. Why did you decide to sell stolen human remains? Do you have anything to say to the families of the loved ones whose remains those were? The human remains in question: skin, organs, stillborn fetal corpses.
Okay, so I did not read the court. Like I didn't read. I went to the DOJ and read the final disposition. I did not read the actual like the actual affidavit because I got scared. I was like, do I really want to read this? I wasn't sure because when they said they were playing around with skin, I was like, baby, I don't know if I want to read this. Like this is already blowing my mind. This blew my mind. Okay. It really did. Not that I thought I'd heard everything, but I was like, damn.
And the prosecutor today even saying whole and partial heads and faces. Court docs say Pauly was
They were selling people's faces.
purchasing the stolen human remains through Facebook and PayPal from Candace Scott, who's accused of stealing them from a mortuary in Arkansas where she worked. Court docs
She was over there stealing corpses.
also say he was buying stolen human remains from Katrina McLean and Joshua Taylor, who were accused of getting access to the remains through Cedric Lodge, a former employee of the anatomical gift program at Harvard Medical School. Pauly's attorney off camera telling me more information will come out at sentencing that will show a fuller picture of the situation.
You see that lady just walking, smiling like it's just another day going to court.
He also says people make poor choices, but it doesn't define them, and Pauly is taking responsibility. Pauly's attorney, Jonathan White, also telling me they want people to respect Pauly's privacy. In Williamsport, I'm Jessica Babb.
Can you believe that? The utter gall. Crazy, right? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find the other, because I was just like, these people are absolutely, I don't even want to know. I just was like, my God. Like the lady who was stealing corpses, can you believe that? How insane this world has come to? Let's see. I think this is the one. Uh-uh. I'll have to this hold on. I will hold on. Let me drop the link to this for you guys. Somebody might want to watch this. This might be like right up somebody's alley. It looks like the local news channel did like a long, like almost like a little documentary. Obviously we're not going to watch that. I just wanted to get the sentencing video. Is it? Okay. Let me tell you what he got. I think he got 72 months. Here, I'll drop the link to it if you want to read about it. It's crazy. Absolutely nuts. I was in shock. What people were doing with it, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know if I want to, because I don't know if I want that in my brain. I can only imagine what some of these people were doing. I don't know. When they found some of the human remains, we're going to say it like that, they were like in Home Depot buckets, and God only knows what they were doing. I cannot even begin to imagine. Well, I can begin to imagine, and none of it's good. So we're just going to leave that right there. But yeah, I did not read the original complaint, because I was just like, I don't even know if I wanted it in my brain. Well, you know why he got, let me tell you. So he didn't kill anybody, right? And also the state where he was from, there was no law. There was no law on the books for, now grave robbing, stuff like that is definitely a crime, but the interstate transport, I think that's where they ended up with the federal. So these crimes were prosecuted federally, because they used the post office, they used the internet, it was interstate commerce, all of those things. So I think they piggybacked off of trafficking versus there was nothing that they could really prosecute him with on a state level for what he'd done. And that's how everybody ended up in federal court. So they were all charged federally with like human trafficking, or is it human? So was it? Yeah. Trafficking of human remains. So I guess they were able to, work with the laws. It's not enough for someone saying, you know what, my son died of cancer, and I want one of the best medical schools in the country to be able to, like, this is what happens. Say someone has a rare form of this or that, and they ask you kindly, can we extract this or that because it's going to help find a cure in the future, right? And you, at your time of grief, say, sure. Or so and so wanted us to help with a cure because this is only they're the second or third person to have this, or Black people don't get this often, and this is a rare case, or whatever. There's always some sort of anomaly, right? And someone decides to give the gift of that particular person's body to be able to study. But the body does go back to the family. They get what they need, and then they return the remains, right? Sometimes people were getting remains back as ashes, and some people don't even know if the ashes that they got back were their ashes. It could have been anything. You don't even know. It's a mess. It's a mess. So they don't know, people don't know how people were returned, if they were returned. I mean, I think at this point, unfortunately, people are going to just have to have that unsettling doubt. And just, it's one of those things, you just have to put that in God's hands. Me personally, I would have rather not known. I'm going to be honest with you. If I had been given that information, I really would have been like, you didn't even have to call me and tell me that. Like, I'm gonna be honest. But I know that that's they're obligated to tell people that, but it's so gruesome to now have that thought. Um I probably wouldn't have wanted to know. I'm gonna be like, I I probably wouldn't have wanted to know. I mean, I know that they would have to be, they're obligated to tell, but if like my husband had gotten the call, I would have been okay with him keeping that for me. Like, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I would be thoroughly that would just I do really empathize with the families who are like, I can't get the thought out my head. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. And the fact that the audacity of the lawyer to ask for privacy is absolutely, like, seriously. Okay. Um let's talk about this real quick. Hold on. Let me pivot. Girl, it gets betterer and betterer. Hold on. Um but this is the man right here. It's like, sir, I know, I would imagine that Harvard would be the manager of the morgue at Harvard. I would imagine would be like a decent paying job. Why would you do that? Now he's off to federal prison, so it's. And then the wife, do they have a picture of the wife? No, but that's him right there. Mr. Cedric Lodge going off to federal prison soon. Okay. Okay, let's go here. Oh, you know what? Let me tell you guys about this first. We were following this last year. Well, we've been following it off and on. There just haven't really been good updates. But it seems like things are starting to pick up again. Hold on. So I sent a note to see if I could get this. Let's talk about this for a second. Okay. So apparently Tyshael Martin and Lojuan Sessions have been writing each other in jail. And Lojuan, so you guys remember Jamaria Sessions? I can never say the name right. They're both in prison, well, in jail. And Jamaria is the one whom the step girlfriend, the mom of most of the kids in the house, who was not the mother of this girl. Tyshael hated this girl's mother. Again, another girl whose mom is gone. In this case, Jamaria's mom had passed away, and she was living with her father, who was problematic. He was cheating on this woman. The lady was angry, which is no reason to take any of her anger out on his kid, but she hated the girl's mother. She was angry because her boyfriend was cheating on her. And then enter this young child who, again, not protected.
Murder of a 9-year-old girl is now the focus of jailhouse letters between her father and his girlfriend. Both are charged in her killing. West News' Greg Foss shows us what they reveal about the case and how they have a connection to another child's murder.
Investigators say this home in a middle-class Montverde neighborhood was a torture ground that ended with the June 17, 2024 death of 9-year-old Jamaria Sessions. Her father's girlfriend, Tyshael Martin, is charged with murder, and the state is seeking the death penalty. Jamaria's father, Lojuan Sessions, is charged with aggravated manslaughter of a child. Detectives say Martin prompted the family's Rottweiler to bite the girl, and she had cuts, bruises, and other signs of abuse. In letters obtained by West 2 News, Martin and Sessions write to each other from their jail cells. Martin often seems despondent, writing that she is depressed, traumatized, cursed, and that she wouldn't do anything intentionally to hurt anyone. She also writes, "I'm sorry, and that this has been a nightmare. How did I get so lost?" She refers to Jamaria by her nickname, Mari. In a telling line, she says Mari was disobedient. I was so mad at her. But while she and Sessions both appear to claim some responsibility in Jamaria's death, he writes this regarding the transcript of Martin's interview with detectives. "Your interview breaks my heart. You literally blamed me." He then says detectives pushed him to say, "You were a monster, but I truly didn't. I pray you tell these people I'm innocent." He then advises her she could get a good deal for a full confession or cooperation, and on the murder, that's not premeditated. The letters not only shed light on the murder of Jamaria Sessions and could play a role at the trials of Tyshael Martin and Lojuan Sessions, they also make mention of the murder of another child and the suspects in that case also here at the jail. 10-year-old Xavier Williams died.
So you guys remember Kimberly Mills, the woman who was the nurse? She was a registered nurse, and she had the new boyfriend over at her house, and he was like abusing the two boys, like dropping dumbbells specifically on this boy, but the little boy was getting it too. And he had like broken ribs, all kinds of stuff. They brought him to the emergency room and then pieced out and came back. It was something crazy, but yeah, she's a registered nurse, his mother, unfortunately. I don't know what was wrong with her. Something was wrong with her. Yes, she was either from Connecticut. I think she was from like New England area. Because I even was compelled to go to the nursing board and look up her license, because I was like, not that to say a registered nurse couldn't do it, because girl, I don't know if you guys saw the news with some medical doctors recently who were on some PDF stuff. I just was shocked that a nurse would do such a thing, but we're just in a very sick time right now. And to her own children, no less, right? With a guy she literally had just met. She just met this weirdo. Okay.
After being beaten.
Anyway, this is my point. So Tyshael and Kimberly, guess what? They know each other in the jail. They're both over there in Lake County Jail. Both basically have very similar crimes and came in around the same time. So Tyshael is over there writing Lojuan, they're going back and forth and in letters. And then she asks Lojuan in a letter, "Hey, do you know so-and-so? Kimberly over here wants to know," like she hadn't heard from him. Can you ask him how he feels? Because I guess she's going to court soon. I think according to what they're going to say, it's either this one or the next one, that they may have offered Kimberly some sort of deal, maybe to give information on homie. And this is Kimberly Mills, the nurse. So Tyshael is asking Lojuan to talk to homie, Kimberly's accomplice, and ask him how he feels about the situation and to write her back. So all of this is now being read not only by obviously law enforcement, but it got into the hands of the news, and hopefully we can get the letters soon. So girl, because I was like, I gotta read these letters.
Burned and suffering trauma from 10-pound weights being dropped on him. His mother, Kimberly Mills, and her boyfriend, Andre Walker, are charged with murder. Martin writes, "The girl who unalived her son," referring to Mills. To Sessions, she asked if you talked to him, referring to Walker, and she needs to know how he feels towards her. Martin and Sessions both make mention of writing future letters in code, apparently to hide their communications. Both have hearings in less than 2 weeks.
And they're not supposed to be talking. So I'm sure this is gonna, now that it's on the news, I'm sure law enforcement might have decided to let it go on just to see, because she damn near confessed in the letter, according to this news channel, that basically she was saying that she did what she did because Jamaria was not acting, she was acting out or whatever, and she was punishing her. Um, which obviously doesn't, what I'm saying, that it doesn't jive. Um, but maybe they were allowing this to go on to see, are they getting confessions, and be able to use this information against them, kind of a controlled situation. But now that it's hit the news, I'm sure they're going to cut this off. And also, you're not supposed to be talking to your co-defendant, and they're like mailing each other letters. Like, how's that? And they're literally just mailing each other letters, and it's getting all, I guess, scanned in. So we gonna see. But if the news channel got it, then obviously it's available for a FOIA request. So we gonna see if we can get some of this to hear, to understand, to dive in a little deeper of what's going on with this, because it's like, it's hard to get information. Like, the docket does have documents posted, but they do a lot of conference updates monthly, and nothing is televised with this case. And it's been a little bit difficult to kind of know what's going on. I did get some behavior reports on Tyshael once upon a time, maybe like, I don't know, it was maybe like 6 months ago, but you guys didn't really seem too into it. I know she is obviously not a likable person, and most of these murderers are not, for good reason. But I stopped requesting stuff on her because it didn't seem like you guys were really too into it. But I did request these letters just to see what was what. But we did go through the whole interview, the interview that she did with law enforcement when she was first arrested. I think we did Lojuan's interview too. But he's been in jail just about as long as her, but their time is coming soon, because I think there were some definite delays because she didn't have an attorney. I was looking at his docket today. He just switched attorneys. He had some attorney. I'm not sure how long he had that particular attorney, but he actually wrote a letter to the court, like Sarah Boone style, wrote a letter in October, basically detailing how his lawyer wasn't calling him, and then attached a bunch of bar complaints that the attorney that he had assigned to him had. Of course, he had a public defender, and he included all of the Florida bar situations that this guy had going on, and they granted his ask and gave him a new attorney, let's say about a month ago. So he's got a new attorney. She has a court appointed attorney as well. From what I understand, and what I'd pulled months ago, she does have some behavior problems. She is a little bit psycho in jail. She is one of these who has a problem with everybody and an issue with everything. So it seems to me. That's how she, now, as far as Kimberly Mills, I don't really have anything on her. But yeah, Tyshael is a complainer. Everybody is an issue. She has issues with people. She pops off, and then she has problems with the guards. Like, everything is a problem. She kind of just like a Sarah Boone. Everything is a problem. Everybody's giving you an issue. Nothing is going your way, and all of the things. So that's my read on Tyshael. But yeah, I saw this update today, and I was like, oh, okay. Things must be, maybe things are coming, going to start happening soon. This is another report about it. Let's see. They say anything different.
In her own words, a woman accused of murdering a 9-year-old little girl allegedly confesses in a series of jailhouse letters. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. I'm Luann Sorrell.
And I'm John Brown. The girl was beaten, tortured, and even attacked by a dog. Now her accused killer is writing letters from behind bars. Fox 35's Hannah McKenzie joins us live with this one. So, Hannah, you spoke to the little girl's grandmother about these letters.
I sure did. She actually told me she couldn't bring herself to read all of them because what she did see, she tells me, made her extremely angry. But she does say these letters have reignited her mission of getting justice for Jamaria, which she knows could be a very long legal battle. Hand-scrawled letters written in jail, exchanged between boyfriend and girlfriend, Tyshael Martin and Lojuan Sessions. Sessions writing, "If things are as the way you're saying, you didn't do it on purpose, so that's not premeditated. But you have to explain it, everything. But get a good deal for a full confession or cooperation." Then from Martin, "Although I don't remember."
He's trying to get her to confess so he can get his behind out. He swears he didn't know anything about it, but I don't believe that you couldn't know that the little girl was getting toe up. And the fact that you were never home and you left her with someone who really didn't care for her at all was negligent on his part, because she wasn't her mother and she had an able-bodied grandmother that wanted her. So as the father, you left her with a negligent woman who wasn't even supposed to have custody of her own kids. Tyshael had her children at the house, but Tyshael had lost custody to her own kids. Tyshael's kids weren't even supposed to be there. Her mother had custody of the kids and brought the kids right back to Tyshael. So a mess. She wasn't even fit to have her own kids, much less watch someone else's kids of a woman that you don't like.
Remember doing the things I saw in that.
I'm going to even just venture to say a woman that you hate. Because I feel like last year when we were looking at this, or earlier this year rather, I pulled up the records from Orange County. She had her and Jamaria's mom had it out in Orange County. So where they live in Lake County, I guess, is not too far from Orange County. And they had beef and they'd had altercations. There was some issues between the two of them. There was documented cases with these two women, and Tyshael did not like this little girl's mother at all. And the lady died of cancer, unfortunately, left behind her two kids, and both kids ended up at the damn evil step girlfriend's house. One of the kids ended up going back to her grandmother's, and Jamaria somehow got stuck over there and ended up losing her life.
Video. The video is proof that it happened. At this point, all I
Right. They wanted that
Nice
extra,
last week can
they
do
wanted
it.
the extra benefit money.
is confess to God our mistakes, vow to do better, repent, etc. Sessions is charged with aggravated manslaughter of a child. Martin is charged with first-degree murder, accused of killing Sessions' daughter, Jamaria. The 9-year-old found dead on June 17, 2024. The Lake County Sheriff's Office says deputies found Jamaria naked, covered in cuts, punctures, burns, bruises, and possible bite marks, all in various stages of healing.
She would light up a whole room because she got those little glasses and she was so.
Althea Chenault preparing for yet another Christmas without Jamaria, once beloved holiday traditions dying alongside her granddaughter.
We used to be making those houses for Christmas, gingerbread houses, but now we're not doing it because she's not here.
And now wounds reopened with these letters sent between the two people accused in Jamaria's death. Chenault couldn't bring herself to read all of them.
I didn't want to get all upset, start crying and stuff, but it's sad. It's sad how they talked about her like she was nothing.
Flippant conversations. Martin has foot fungus and craves McDonald's fries. Sessions says he just wants to watch movies and chill. Absent from the letters, says Chenault, remorse.
Because they talked about it and they laughed about it, and they were still talking and joking in the letters. Like it was okay what happened. They were still talking about LOL, laugh out loud, and all this, I love you, all this stuff. It's just heartbreaking. I don't know. I try to be strong. I'm being strong. I have to be. I tried so hard to save them, and nothing I could do to save them.
And so I think that's the mom that's their maternal grandmother. The weird thing is too that Lojuan Lojuan had another woman when he was arrested. That was another reason around the time that Jamaria passed away, because Lojuan, Lojuan and Tyshael broke up. Those of you guys who know the story, foot fungus girl, she in that shower, probably athlete's foot, right? Lojuan broke up with Tyshael. Lojuan, when he packed up and left, he left Jamaria behind. Again, why are you leaving? Not that you know what I mean? That child was not that woman's child. She hates the lady's mother. She hates the girl's mother. And now she hates you. So you pack up, leave her, go to another woman's house. According to Lojuan, the day that he found out that Jamaria died, allegedly, he says he was coming back to get Jamaria. He left, got his stuff, was coming back to get Jamaria. He came back to get Jamaria. Jamaria had passed. On top of everything, the lady that he was leaving to go live with was already pregnant with another baby. Okay? So just a whole mess.
Chanel says
and now this stupid woman, Tyshael, is just the dumbest of the dumb. You're sitting up there writing this dude letters. He wants you to confess so he can get himself probably a deal. He's telling her to get a deal by confessing, but he wants her to tell them that he had nothing to do with anything because he just had a baby with this other woman that he left her for a year ago. Like, it's a mess.
Made police reports and contacted CPS numerous times trying to get custody of Jamaria and her sisters. Now she says she will continue fighting for her from the courtroom as both Martin and Sessions' trials play out. Live in the studio tonight, I'm Hannah McKenzie.
Hannah, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, we don't know. There's no trial date set yet. I don't know when it's going to happen. Kimberly Mills, they said, has court next month. She's the one, her son passed away of all of those injuries. It was another one of these kids who had so many injuries. Like they say, it's like death by 1,000 injuries. Like they're so injured that because their bodies are trying to heal so many things all at one time, some of them will just go into cardiac arrest, and it's very sad. But that's what happened with Kimberly Mills' child, who she is currently bunking with in that Lake County jail. So just it's a mess. But I did a few videos on that. I just haven't had any updates in a while. But we'll get some more. I just sent off for some FOIA requests, so see what I get back. And if I get anything, I will definitely let you guys know as soon as I get it back, and then we can talk about it. Let me show you guys this really quick. You guys are going to be like, what? Hold on. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see this. Okay, this woman right here. Let me let them tell you, and then we'll talk about it.
Woman faces felony charges tonight, accused of orchestrating a fraud scheme and exploiting more than 50 victims across the country. CBS 12's Jamilka Gibson joins us live from the Palm Beach Police Department with the latest on the suspect. Jamilka?
Liz, this isn't this woman's first run-in with the law. Back in 2023, officials say she was doing something similar in Virginia.
Take a good look. This is 29-year-old Kadesa Sayles, a Palm Beach County woman, and who officials believe is the mastermind behind a nationwide SIM swap scam. She is accused of hijacking the phone numbers of more than 50 people across the U.S., stealing personal information, and making unauthorized financial transactions.
They're basically stealing your privacy and your identity and your money without ever having to step into your home to do it.
But how exactly does it work? Tech expert Craig Agranoff says it could start with something as simple as a phone call.
A call or a text from someone pretending to be your phone carrier. So let's just say you had AT&T. They trick you into sharing a code that they get sent to your phone. That code will allow them to port your number to a new SIM card that they do control.
And what happens next is out of your control.
Once they hijack your number, they can bypass two-factor authentication, reset your password, and drain your bank accounts or crypto wallets within minutes.
That's exactly what officials say Sayles did to a Palm Beach man, robbing him of nearly $200,000. Experts say there are ways to protect yourself and signs to be on the lookout for.
What you should do is set up a PIN with your mobile carrier. It's usually a free extra layer of protection, but also make sure you pay attention to a sudden loss of service. So if your phone loses signal unexpectedly, it could mean that somebody just swapped your SIM card.
Sayles is being charged with fraud and using a person's identification without their consent. Reporting live in Palm Beach, Jamocha Gibson, CBS 12 News.
So really quick. So she went to court. She went to trial. She was found guilty. Spoiler alert. She had been offered a plea deal. And the plea deal was obviously admit your guilt and 5 years. She decided to take it to the box. And let's see if they tell the sentence here, but she got far more than 5 years.
In just the blink of an eye, a hacker can take control of your phone.
Yeah, it's a growing scam.
Wait, so yeah. Oh.
And it can lead to your bank accounts being drained. Consumer investigator Sasha Jones has a warning from one South Florida woman.
A normal evening transformed into a chaotic scene.
When I realized Chase, 2 emails from Chase, 2 alerts. One was our password was changed into a new device. I panicked.
Patricia Escriva is describing what she says took place to her in early June. It all started when she says she lost service to her cell phone. Using Wi-Fi to reconnect, she quickly noticed someone had accessed her financial accounts. Patricia shared banking records with us, showing more than $17,000 being spent within the 24 hours after she lost cell phone service. And then
we didn't know how bad it was going to get, because the next day we realized that these people sold my husband's stocks and they transfer money.
Patricia says she and her husband contacted their bank right away and were able to stop the sale of more than $50,000 in stocks initiated that night from her husband's brokerage account.
So since June 3rd, me and my husband having nightmares. We don't sleep well, thinking, in the future. What could happen to us now in the future?
She called her cell phone provider, Metro by T-Mobile, for help.
You transfer your numbers to T-Mobile. I'm like, no, I did not.
She says someone transferred her cell phone service to a new device without her permission.
I never heard that it's so easy to steal a line from somebody else and transfer it to another device.
It's called a SIM swap scam. A scam experts say scammers pull off using social engineering.
It could be as easy as calling up and pretending to be you and knowing certain things about you and saying that you got a new phone. And so turn off this old purple phone and move it to this phone that I'm holding.
Erin West, a former local prosecutor in California, founded a nonprofit to trace scams. She says criminals work to trick your cell phone provider to transfer your line to a new device. Once transferred.
Do you imagine, like, if the main thing from this takeaway, if you don't have double factor authentication on everything financial, get it. Number 2, your cell phone, make sure when you're calling, even though it's so annoying, you don't want to give up your address. You don't want, like, what's your PIN? What's your this? What's your that? Just imagine this is like the scam now, because if they can steal your number, and then they can access all your stuff, just imagine if you have all of your stuff saved in your phone, all of your cloud, your everything. I don't know what the ramifications are, but I feel like when I've gotten a new phone, Say I swap out my 16 for whatever they have now, 17, 18, I don't know. When I get into a new phone or like an iPad, I don't have to do my cloud. Like if someone can figure out how to get into my phone, then they're in. They are in. I was like, wait till you see this girl too on Instagram. I'm gonna pull her up on Instagram so you guys can see what she was doing with these people's money. Okay. You got to double factor authenticate everything. You got to have PIN codes for everything. And me personally, you have to have an email address just for financials. And to me, that has to be an email address that you don't even use to give out like casually. You know what I mean? Like your shopping email versus your financial life email, because everything is tied into like your emails and your phone numbers. And maybe you don't want the burden of two numbers, which is fine, but I do think it's an extra layer of safety, especially since we're going into a new year. And none of us ever predicted that our email addresses 20 years ago would carry so much weight. I never knew, and I really wish I could dial back like some of what I did not know, because my very innocent email address is everywhere. You know what I mean? So slowly I have been making those changes to having one specific for financials. It's just the exposure without the knowledge to let us know like this is something like we should, hold our email addresses dear, because email addresses are super important now. Our phone numbers are really important. And what's the first things that get into these data breaches? What is the first thing that they're selling? Our email addresses, our damn phone numbers. It's a lot, but not to scare you, but I think, obviously knowledge is power. And the use of knowledge is power, right? So now we know that this scam exists, but wait till you see what the person who is behind this was doing with these people's money.
The scammer can reset your login credentials to your financial accounts using two-factor authentication codes sent straight to your phone.
There are guardrails that could be put in place and better ways to protect legitimate consumers from having bad guys engineer their phone service away from them.
NBC6 Responds reached out to Patricia's cell phone provider, Metro by T-Mobile. A representative told us though they don't share.
Sorry. Yeah,
details.
I feel like the last time I dealt with my cell phone provider regarding service, they sent me a text. They ask you, I don't even think they, when we were activating phones and stuff like that, I really didn't think of all of this going on, but I was having to remotely activate phones because we bought all new phones like about a year and a half ago. Anyway, long story short, they would send a series of text messages and you had to respond, or I had to go log into my email. It was annoying, but now that I think of this stuff happening, and because I bought the phones like not at the store, I ended up getting caught up at Target, and one of those dealers sold me some new phones and I had to activate the phones. They didn't come already activated and it was so annoying. I will never do that again. But yeah, come to think of it, they don't even ask you your code. They send you like a text or something and you have to put your code in, or they call you and you have to dial it in or whatever.
They did confirm their care team contacted Patricia directly and went on to say say SIM swaps are an industry-wide problem that all wireless providers are working to fight, and they invest heavily in measures designed to keep customers safe from SIM swaps and other fraudulent activities. As for Patricia, she was able to get back the money she lost after contacting her banks directly. Metro by T-Mobile also told us if they are unable to determine how an account was accessed, they offer support to customers. The company recommends using strong passwords, resetting PINs on a regular basis, and being cautious with unexpected calls or texts. We have more information on how to keep your account safe on our website, NBC6.com. Sasha Jones, NBC6 responds.
Okay, so the person Kadesa Sayles, she actually had been offered a 5-year plea deal, and she ended up getting adjudicated to 20 years with her guilty verdict. So she just got sentenced. Hold on a second, let me tell you when. I think she just got sentenced. Let's see. Her sentencing happened maybe like a week or so ago. Let me see. Adjudicated guilty on December 17th. And she had a ton of charges, but with all of her, she had 18 counts that she was found guilty on, and her time totaled to 20 years when it was all said and done. Let me see if I can find. Okay. Trial hearing notes. Let me just see what it says on the trial hearing notes. Yeah, she was sentenced to 20 years. But I can tell you a little bit about, let me read some of the affidavit to you guys. So on May 27th, I'm not going to pull it up because it does have a lot of identifying information on here. But let me pull this up so you guys just have like a visual. But they seem to, they were balling out of control. I just seemed to, so we only saw a couple of people, but one victim said that they lost over $200,000, right? So just imagine, so let me show you this. So keep in mind, this is a woman who is a mother of 6, and she was living the life on Instagram, profiling, looking lovely, beautiful children, lovely family. All of this was this time last year. So this was a year ago. This was 53 weeks ago, right? Living the life, looking successful. If depending on what successful looks like to you, but definitely displaying a family, nice looking family, calling herself a entrepreneur on her page, right? Displaying herself like she's got some money. So she's got things going on. What was that? I don't see a rapper. I don't see a. Okay. So they were running and spending people's money like crazy. $29 They're riding around in Rolls Royce. Now, these could be rented. I don't know what they were, what was purchased, what was leased, what was rented, what was whatever. But this is what was going on the Instagram page, and this was all being funded by these criminal endeavors. Let me see. And they were running this. This was not the first time that she got arrested. She was arrested in 2022 with a similar situation. And somehow she got out of it. This time she's not getting out of it. This time she's got 20 years and she's doing 20 years. So I think she's 29 now, or she might be 31. She's right in that age range, but she has 20 years and it's a mess. She was spending these people's money. She was on here portraying herself. I mean, to me, it just seems to be all about bags and cars and vacation. Notice there's really nothing on here about these entrepreneurial endeavors, just profiling, styling, profiling, Instagramming. You're a great parent. Don't let no one tell you different. Okay, well, her kids will be grown by the time she makes it out of prison, out of Florida Women's Penitentiary. But this is what was going on, and this is who turned down a 5-year deal. I don't know how or who her lawyer was that advised her that it was a good idea with whatever the discovery and evidence were. But let me read you a little bit of the affidavit that made her. I don't know what would make her think that they did not have enough evidence to prosecute her. But basically this is the affidavit. They're saying that May 27th, May 27th, 2025, your affiant found probable cause to arrest Kadesa Sayles. So she was born in 1995, so she's 30. So yeah, she'll be getting out at about 50. For organized fraud pursuant to Florida statute. I'm not going to read the numbers. Fraudulent use of personal ID information over 60 years of age. So they targeted people of a certain age. So organized fraud of persons 60 years of age or over. On April 10th, 2025, Clifford Sobel contacted Palm Beach police about a fraud involving the port forwarding of 3 phone numbers on his AT&T account, a fraudulent wire transfer, and a fraudulent login on a few different websites. The details are as follows. So I'm going to skip some of the information for obvious reasons, just because these people have already suffered enough. On April 8th, 2025, Sobel stated that he received a phone call from number blank. Unknown subjects contacting him claiming to be from AT&T, informing him that due to an internal process at the operator to keep his lines active, he would need to perform a validation that consisted of confirming the code sent by SMS. Sobel provided the code to the subjects. It was later discovered that the SMS was indeed from AT&T. However, it was confirmation code of acceptance for port forwarding to telephone numbers to a different provider, which was discovered to be Verizon. Sobel provided the code following the unknown subjects to finalize the process to forwarding his number to Verizon. Once the subjects received the code, all three of the numbers below were transferred to Verizon from his AT&T account. Due to the theft of the phone numbers, the offenders attempted to make bank withdrawals, including a wire transfer from Sobel's bank account. Unknown subjects also successfully performed account takeover on the email blankety blank used by the victim. So they took his email address, had his phone number, everything. Furthermore, Sobel was worried that the unknown subjects had compromised his Apple account connected to his iPhone. And that's all it takes, because you get into the Apple account and the cloud, baby, there's all your passwords, right? Furthermore, Sobel was worried that the unknown subjects had compromised his Apple account connected to his iPhone, because what do you need to change? Like, it's a nightmare, right? What do you need to change your Apple ID? They can call you on your phone, right? But now that they hijacked the phone numbers, girl, they had everything, right? Compromised his Apple account connected to his iPhone. Due to Sobel clicked on the Find My feature on his Apple account and noticed that an unknown iPhone was pinging at 5350 blankety blank street in Loxatachi, Florida, an address Sobel has never been to nor has ties to. Before connecting to the police department, Sobel had already taken steps to recover his Apple account, which removed the unknown iPhone from his Find My page. He did, however, take a photograph showing the pinging phone shown. So he was lucky he got that, right? Based on the above information, your affiant conducted a surveillance at that address. While conducting the surveillance, it was discovered that the below two vehicles were parked at the address for multiple days. A 2022 black Cadillac Escalade and a gray BMW. Both vehicles were registered to someone named Jarvis Graham of North Lauderdale. Your affiant also conducted a search for the address in Palm Beach County property appraiser's office, which shows that the home belonged to, I'm going to just say, a guy named Raymond from Flushing. Okay. Your affiant also conducted a search in TLO of the address, which yielded one result for Kadesa Sayles. A David check, which I don't know what a David check is. Let's see what that means. Something law enforcement. Let's see. David check. I don't know what that means. Conducted a David check. A David check usually refers to running a motor vehicle record DMVR or driver's license history through driver and vehicle information database. That's what David is. Driver and vehicle information database. Okay, that's a David check. Okay. A David check of Sayles revealed that she is the registered owner of the 2024 gray BMW. A Linux check of Sayles revealed that in 2023, she was listed as a suspect in a Roanoke, Virginia Police Department incident number blank as a suspect of a fraud where the victim's phones were port forwarded to a different phone carrier, and then fraudulent activity was found on the victim's bank account. On April 17th, 2025, your affiant met with Clifford Sobel, who provided me with an update supplement from K2 Integrity, a private investigation company he hired to assist him. The following additional information was given in a supplemental report. On April 9th, 2025, Sobel's Merrill Lynch account received a request for a wire transfer for $138,237, which was successful. The wire was set to go to Discover Bank to an Ashley Henderson in Pompano Beach. I conducted a search in database, and one result populated for Ashley Henderson with Pompano Beach address blank. Okay, I'm not going to say all that information, but they found Ashley. They found Miss Ashley. On April 9th, 2025, Sobel's Morgan Stanley account received a request for a wire transfer for $82,469. The banker confirmed that the wire and instructed who believed was Sobel to provide an e-signature in the portal, which was completed shortly after. The wire was initiated and a confirmation email was sent to the email address that Sobel used, that they hijacked. Once Sobel received the confirmation and immediately called Morgan Stanley's fraud team, which was able to secure the funds. The funds were recovered. However, they needed to go through a review process, which would make the 30 to 90 days before Sobel receives his funds back. Below is a transaction information of this wire. On April 17th, Jason Strait with K2 Integrity provided me with photographs that were collected from Sobel's iPhone after he took over his iCloud account and connected their iPhone 12. The photograph depicts shots of different bank accounts, emails, car insurance that was pulled up on a computer screen. Your affiant conducted a metadata search for each of the 7 photographs, which revealed the following. Let me just bypass all of that. They were all up in his phone, basically. On May 7th, 2025, your affiant contacted Henry Leong, a victim of Las Vegas, Nevada, who was a victim of an identical case that was reported to the FBI IC3, where his phone was port forwarded and his iCloud was taken over. Similar to this case, once Leong regained control of his phone and iCloud account, the suspect's photos were synced to his phone as well. Leong provided me with approximately 50 photographs the suspect took pertaining to the victim of this case. The photographs included pictures of personal identifying information, including driver's license, passports, bank account numbers, checks, emails. Your affiant ran a metadata search for the images. Below are the results of some of them. Now, they're redacted for this particular document, so I can't really see them. But they're stating what some of these things are, passports and things like that. All kinds of stuff. On May 9th, 2025, your affiant received a response from Verizon for the above listed phone numbers that were forwarded to Verizon from the victim's AT&T account. Your affiant received RTT data, which stands for round trip time report. Verizon is able to provide accurate distance from tower measurements in their RTT reports. This is a distance provided in miles. The mobile device is away from a cell tower. When this report is downloaded into KMZ, Google Earth profile, it depicts the cell tower and a red line where the mobile device is located. So basically like the pings that you can get when, like when we watch testimony of the cell phone data. So now they've been able to ping these phones, and now I'm assuming they're going to track these people. Yes, I'm seeing it in the next paragraph. Your affiant generated an RTT report for the times above for the times the above images were taken with a particular phone number, which was connected to an iPhone 12. The victim took screenshots of his Find My iPhone page showing his iCloud account over at the address on Liberty Lane on April 8th, 2025 at 20:45 hours. RTT data shows that the victim's phone number was indeed connected to a mobile device, iPhone 12, at that location. And that location was tied to this woman on the screen, right? Based on the above two cases, your affiant applied for a search warrant for the residence at Liberty Lane. The warrant was signed and approved by the Honorable Judge Edward Garrison on Tuesday, May 5th, 2025. Palm Beach Police, CIU, along with Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, executed a search warrant. Contact was made with the individuals in control of the house who were identified as Kadesa Sayles and Jarvis Graham. I don't know what happened with Jarvis. We have to look him up. Mr. Jarvis, I think the boyfriend. A search of the primary bedroom of Sayles and Graham located on the first floor of the dwelling was conducted. Prior to the search, Palm Beach Police Department photographed the room, which was identical to the room provided from Henry. So these people, not only did they have identifying information of people in these phones, they seem to have been using these phones. And so they had pictures. They messed up and took pictures of themselves and the dwelling in these port transferred phones. So they did them own selves in. Okay. Identical room. So when they entered the dwelling on the search warrants, some of the pictures matched up from the pictures that the victim in Las Vegas had that synced to his iCloud whilst his phone was being taken over. Okay. Does that make sense? In the room, a female Louis Vuitton backpack was discovered containing an HP laptop, 3 iPhones, 2 pairs of female sunglasses, female pink comb and brush, yellow notebook marked work money, like work and a cash sign, containing personal identifying information, account numbers, social security numbers, names, addresses, port PIN numbers, and over 50 victims across the United States and Florida, including, I'm not going to say the names, Clifford and Barbara, Claudia, Marcello, Henry. Henry's name was in the book, y'all. Okay. The guy in Las Vegas, his name was in the book. Okay. Susan, a lady named Susan. Okay. In addition to seizing electronic devices and a ledger containing personal identifying information of victims in a case totaling $15,243 US, was also seized in a primary bedroom of Sayles, which was believed to be the proceeds of the above criminal activity. Furthermore, in the primary bedroom, Palm Beach Police Department photographed Sayles' Florida driver's license, prescription medication with her name on it, credit cards in Sayles' name, along with an abundance of designer women's clothes and handbags. The investigation establishes that the defendant, Kadesa Sayles, orchestrated a fraud scheme, including unauthorized porting of victims' telephone numbers by exploiting social engineering tactics. The Sayles procured port out authorization codes under false pretenses, thereby transferring control of victims' mobile numbers from AT&T to Verizon. This enabled them to circumvent double-factor authentication and gain access to victims' financial accounts, resulting in substantial unauthorized wire transfers and fraudulent transactions. Comprehensive evidentiary support, including location data, from Verizon RTT logs, photographic metadata linked to the residence on Liberty, surveillance footage corroborating victims' testimony directly connects the defendants to the commission of these offenses. The pattern of criminal conduct spans multiple victims, jurisdictions, underscoring the defendant's central role in an organized fraud enterprise. Based on the above facts, your affiant found probable cause to arrest Kadesa Sayles for organized crime, $50,000 or more, because she did engage in a scheme to fraud constituting a systematic, ongoing course of conduct with intent to defraud one or more persons, or with intent to obtain property for one or more persons by false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, or premises of willful misrepresentation of future acts, and did obtain property from one or more or such persons over $50,000 contrary to the Florida statute, your affiant has found probable cause to arrest Kadesa Sayles for fraudulent use of personal identifying information over 60 years of age, because she did willfully and without authorization fraudulently use personal information concerning the Sobels, an individual who is 60 years of age or older, without first obtaining consent of the victims contrary to the Florida statute. Is that it? Yes. Okay. So like I said, this trial happened. She actually was found guilty, and they had offered her a plea deal. And I guess she thought they didn't have enough information. Foolish on her part. I don't know what happened with the boyfriend. Let me see if I can look him up real quick. I would imagine he got arrested too, wouldn't he? I would think Jarvis, is it Jarvis Graham? Hold on a second. Let me look him up. Did Jarvis take a deal? He'd have to be stupid to not. Jarvis Graham. Oh, they let's see. I wonder if his criminal affidavit is the same as hers. Oh, girl, he's got his own stuff. So I said that they Marcello had a fraudulent transaction. So I said that there were other names in that book. Okay, so this might be where he comes in. Jesus. Let me see how he was deposed of. Let's see. Did he get found? Let's see. Referred or transferred as co-defendant. Did he get his case literally just fall out? Agreed. Order on motion, modified pretrial conditions, notice of hearing. I wonder if she hit him up to the game, and did he tell on her? I would need to look at his look through all of this and see what happened, because it's a lot here. He has another case too. But that's her boo. So one was closed. Let's see what this one says. Order judgment of guilty. So he did sentence order. Let's see what he got sentenced. Plea sheet. Sentence order. Let's see what he got. He only had count 4, 5, and 6. Please tell me allow total of, okay, so he got credit for 132 days. Girl, he got 15 months. He got 15 months and ma'am got 20 years. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Let me look. Ma'am, he's going to be moving on. He's probably already moved on. Did he get a plea deal? Hold on, let me see. Plea in court. The following to reflect all terms of a negotiated settlement. Mr. Jarvis took a negotiated plea to plead guilty to organized scheme to defraud less than $20,000, fraudulent use of ID, fraudulent frauding a person over 60 years of age, and he paid $200 in court costs. He got 15 months and he got credit for 132 days served. He will provide 2 samples of DNA, and that's it. So, sir, hold on a second. This is ma'am, 6 kids. She got 20 years. And sir, the guy she was saying was her husband. I think this is him. Let's see. She got 20. And sir got 15 months. Okay. He got 15 months. I guess she thought 5 years wasn't good enough. And okay. I don't know why people think that if they're offering you a plea, they don't have evidence or they can't prosecute you. They might just be trying to spare you because, again, she had 6 kids. So they might have just felt like, you know what? She's a mother. She's got 6 kids. We're going to drag her. She's going to be in the FBI database, all of the things. Maybe they were trying to spare and give her some mercy. The fact that she didn't take it was crazy work. But she has 20 years now. Yes, clock that. You got 20 years, boo. Okay? 20 years. He got 15 months. I wonder, was that one of those cell phones that you had commandeered? Girl, that relationship over. He's not going to wait for you, boo. He is not going to wait for her. A mess, right? It's over. Oh, well. You know, it's sad because people are buying into this. I mean, her Instagram didn't pop off anyway. She'll have like 23,000, which is a good number of followers, but it wasn't like it was popping. At the end of the day, this was all fake. Everything in here is on some thievery. Everything is on some thievery, on stolen, on fraud. People, you know, some people don't care, but some people do. Like, you know, it's a flex if you earned it. If you stole it, it's not a flex. You know, flossing stolen merchandise is not cute. That's not a flex. So, anywho, I think that's it, guys. I feel like we got a little bit caught up. One of you guys asked me to do another update on Jarvis. I know he's got court coming up. I do have some information, and we talked about it when we first started the live. If you did not know, next week is the 2-year anniversary of the disappearance of Naziah Harris. So they are doing kind of like a little online commemoration, and I'll share the information with you guys. So if you want to take part and to share the post, which will help bring additional awareness. Yes, Jarvis has been arrested. Yes, there seem to be other things under investigation because one of the children that lived outside of Naziah, obviously, um, Zanaya, the daughter of, or is it Janiyah? One of his daughters that lived under Sharon's roof, Shannon Harris's roof, um, is another victim of Jarvis's. And, obviously there's more investigation going on, just to continue to provide awareness because this guy's footprint is pretty devastating. And just to continue to keep this case, in people's mind and not to forget because, justice has not been, he has a lot of victims and he victimized his daughters. The children that lived in that house are missing their cousin, who has been gone for 2 years and is suspected to have been murdered. I mean, it's a terrible situation. So next week is 2 years. So yeah, the fact that the daughter was being victimized under that roof puts all of the adults. I think now people are getting less of a pass for, I didn't know anything was going on. No, you knew something was going on. That's why she sat up there and lied on the stand. That's why when she gave her statement in the preliminary hearing, Annette and Shannon, it was so unbelievable. Shannon may have told a little bit of the truth and definitely some lies. Annette, the math wasn't even mathing. It's like we know because we've seen the Instagram and Facebook posts of all the kids that were in that house. When they were asking her how many kids lived in the house, how many foster kids, how many grandkids, how many kids were living in the house, because this is a woman who gets food stamps and public assistance. The math was not mathing on the head count and numbers. So that was one thing. Then it was like, oh, Jarvis never came in the house. And we saw pictures, birthday parties, everything where that man was in the house. But she didn't want to say he was in the house because he's a registered sex offender and he wasn't supposed to be in the house. Also, if you are going to say that the SO is in the house, well, guess what? Now he's got access to people who are pointing the finger that something is happening. And there had been active CPS reports on the man. So just a lot. If you've been paying attention to the past year, you guys know what's going on. If not, there's a whole entire playlist and there's plenty of people doing content on it. I've been doing content on it since last year, since the preliminary hearing. I learned about this case and it's horrific. What happened to these kids. And it's very sad. Oh my God, she was horrible. She was horrible. We know he obviously had a relationship with the twins. I don't know how deep his relationship went with Marquita, but it went there. Allegedly, you know what I mean? I don't know firsthand, but that's what they say. Now, as far as Annette, it's been said, I don't know that it's true. You know what I mean? I don't want to accuse anybody anything. I don't know. It's been said and it's possible. I don't put anything past any of those. It's a very deep, toxic situation. And unfortunately, all those kids were exposed to it. So anything is possible. If you didn't based on to this live we just did, all this toxic stuff that goes on in the world that nobody really wants to know too much about, baby, is real. It's real. that her testimony was so. One day this week, we will definitely, when we do our Jarvis update, we might revisit Annette and Shannon and I don't know who else. I mean, I have a full playlist where we talked about those. We watched and reacted to those videos. But it's been a year. There's a lot of water under the bridge. There's a lot of information that we have learned since a year ago. So it might be worth circling back to some of that testimony. I would definitely encourage you, if you're following the case and you have not taken the time to get into the preliminary hearing. It is 5 full days of testimony, but it is so fascinating. It's interesting. It's a lot of the case. It went fast to me. We started watching it and got all the way caught up because King did his testimony, I think, in like October or November. And then they came back after a break and did 4 days straight of testimony for the preliminary hearing. And it was jaw dropping, to say the least, that this guy was out here doing all of what he was doing. And over the past year, the cases have unfolded. Some of the things that were mentioned about the acts with these the alleged acts have now unfolded and have now become additional cases. Yes, absolutely, I agree. I feel like I'm losing my voice, guys. Do you hear it? Anyway, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go so I have a little bit of voice left tomorrow. I don't know what we're gonna talk about, but if there's tomorrow I'm gonna be getting a live. Well, I'm not gonna be live. I may come to you guys live downtown. But I'm going to go sit in on the hearing for Lorenza Inman, the man who stands accused of the murder of Frige Baker. Okay. So I'm going to that hearing tomorrow afternoon. So I will have an update for you guys on that case tomorrow, let you know what comes out. And so I may go live early tomorrow just to have a chat with you guys. And can you believe it? Sounds like I'm losing my voice. I might need to drink some tea. And then I'll come to you guys after the hearing and tell you guys what came up out of it. There is another. So tomorrow I will talk to you about these. There's a really bad case that came up with a mother, a daughter, and an aunt here in the Charlotte area too, that I want to talk to you guys about. I feel like it's gone a little bit viral. It's almost like on the same level of a Kelly Marie Bryant. Squalor conditions, extreme abuse. So it's like a little bit of Jamaria Sessions mixed with disgusting house with rodents and all kinds of shit in it. And then after everybody in the house the children got removed, the adults were arrested. How about the house gets set on fire? I'll talk to you guys about it in the morning. After I go live on Love Lies and Lace Fronts, I'll be live early and we'll talk about it. And the house is evidence, right? Somehow the house caught on fire. It didn't burn all the way down to the ground, but the fire department had to spend a couple of hours trying to put the fire out. So basically the house, which is basically a crime scene, is almost destroyed, if you can believe it, which I can believe it because somebody probably went through there and torched it. Crazy. When you hear about this, you're going to be like, oh my God. But yeah, extreme child abuse. A 6-year-old is passed away. There were 5 other kids in the house. They've all been removed. And no sooner do they get everybody out the house is caught on fire. A mess. Who's Olivia? So some people are not going to know who Olivia is. There's a mommy that I cover on my other channel. She's a YouTuber. Her channel is called Love Live. I'm not recommending it. If you go over there at your own risk, okay? But this particular YouTuber was arrested on non-payment of child support. She is in the rears for $60,000 of child support, and she was committed to Tarrant County for a 6-month bid. And I guess in Texas, you get 3 for 1. So she is set to get out February 14th. Vicky is asking, has anyone written Liv yet? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. Her supporters, it's quite possible. You know, there's a lot of crazy YouTubers out here that get very strange support from their followers, which cool. I would not, none of those people are going to tell me. You know what I'm saying? None of those people are going to come tell me. That's like somebody who is friends with Boneytail. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably that type of same thing. You know, they're not going to tell me. So I don't know. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Vicky. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody has reached out to Liv, because she does have supporters. But I won't know about it until she probably says something, or one of those people activate a channel and want to drop the TT, you know, whatever that might be. So thanks for asking that. That's a she deserved. I didn't know that you were watching over there. I figured she would get out of jail earlier. Well, she's going to get out February. She got 6 months. So 6 months would have been 6 months would have been like what? May 17th. So early is February. You know what I'm saying? So getting 3 for 1, or getting 3 days for every 1 day. I sent a request. I don't know if they're going to put them at, you know what I mean? Like, every place is different. Cobb County just seems to be a special place. Cobb County seems to be special. I was trying to find this person. Let me show you. There was something that happened in Cobb County recently that I thought was interesting. I don't know how much time this lady spent in jail. Hold on. You guys want to see a Cobb County thing? I was trying to figure out, like, did she actually spend time in jail? They said she was finally out of jail. Did you guys hear about the postal carrier who was stealing credit cards? The Cobb County postal worker, girl, they got her all on all kinds of surveillance footage. Hold on a second. It's just right now, baby, you need to stop. If you are scamming, please understand that everything has a video camera. You can't really get away with too much these days, y'all. Don't scam. Scamming is not cute.
A U.S. postal worker accused of stealing the mail she was paid to deliver is out of jail and facing multiple felony charges tonight. Channel 2's Michael Seidens live in Austell. Michael, police say surveillance video played a key role in identifying the suspect.
Yeah, Karen, and in just a moment, we're going to actually show you that video that catches her in the act. More on that in a moment. But police tell us tonight that this was all the result of a 3-month investigation. This surveillance video is now at the center of a criminal investigation.
Yesterday morning, we were contacted by the
It is not a flex to use someone else's cards unless they handed it to you and told you to go shopping. It is not cute to steal. It's just not. Work for your own stuff. That's the flex. The flex is going to treat yourself when you have worked hard to earn the money, or when someone says, you know what? Here you go. That's the flex. Not stealing.
Also, United States Postal Officer Inspector General, they had been working a case that led them to a couple addresses here in Austell where some gift cards were stolen.
Police identified the suspect as 31-year-old Adrienne Brazille. Investigators say the U.S. Postal Service employee, seen here in uniform, is using a stolen AT&T rewards cards to make purchases at a local store. Her arrest capped a 3-month investigation, one that police say began after 2 people reported that their AT&T rewards cards, each worth $500, never made it into their mailboxes.
Both victims lived in the same neighborhood over off Veterans Road.
Investigators say she used the stolen cards at multiple businesses between September 10th and December 14th. This afternoon, we stopped by a local post office in Austell, where customers told us they're being extra vigilant this holiday season.
It's a holiday season. You take it from families, kids probably, and that's just horrible.
Tonight, Brazil is out of jail, charged with 2
It's the holiday season.
counts of financial transaction card fraud. And again, we looked on court records, did not see an attorney listed for her, but we do know she is due back in court next month. We're live in Austell. Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action.
Okay. I think she was in jail, but I don't know for how long. But yeah, whose calls are you talking about? We need whose calls? I don't know. Some places, we need Liv's calls. Girl, Liv's calls might be hilarious. We'll see if we can get them. If we can get them, we'll get them. Yeah, I mean, debt free, I feel like is relative. I mean, debt free, it depending on, you're never really going to be debt free, just because even if you've paid off your home, you still have to pay your taxes and stuff like that. So it's hard to say, debt free, but relative debt free, right? But I think it's also like just having the money and the wherewithal to be able to get what you want. That's the flex. Like having options. You know what I mean? Having options is a flex. And that's just such a bad look. That's such a bad look, stealing. And the fact that she's going to lose her job, you're losing your reputation. You had a federal job. Now you're getting felony charges. Like, sis, you're done. You're done. And it's embarrassing on top of that. You know what I mean? Like, just awful. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. This was fun. Make sure to hit the thumbs up for me. If you're on the replay, make sure to hit the thumbs up for me. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Girl, everything just awful. That avatar is hilarious. Okay. Love it. Okay, you guys, have a good night. I'll see you guys later. Bye.